What's going on, guys? Kevin here to bring you a brand new video. I just recently freed up a shit ton of space just so I could make this video. But I want to talk about 10 of my favorite movies from 10 different genres. These are 10 individual films from different kinds of genres or just times that I really passionately love that I wanted to discuss. I wanted to discuss them in the order based on um, how much I like the genre, and then work my way down to my favorite genre, which I will reveal. I do have a favorite genre, which I will reveal. But let's start off with, I don't want to say my least favorite, but it's higher on the list compared to these other ones. Let's start with number 10, the best animated film. I do love animated film. It's a great genre of film that's good for when you're a kid, and it still can be enjoyable to this day. But it is number 10. For this one, I would have to say Toy Story, just because it's so iconic and just everything about it is amazing as a kid, and when you watch it when you're older, it has a lot of rewatchability to it, and it's also a great series in general, with the second and third one being good as well. It's just, it's kind of a weird concept, but it is an amazing movie. Just the whole plot of it, everything about it is enjoyable. I absolutely adore that movie. Have a lot of great memories of seeing it at least three times probably as a kid. Number nine, which is the best comedy movie. Um, I'm not a big comedy person, but growing up in my family loves comedy movies, and this one comedy movie is one that my family really loves, and I personally adore it as well. I thought about putting an Adam Sandler movie on this list, but I realized I don't know, Adam Sandler movies, they can be funny, but they're not the greatest quality. So I was I don't know, let's go with a more classic. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Great film. Um, you know, my favorite part about this movie was John Candy, because rest in peace to John Candy. He was so great in that movie, and the way that Steve Martin and John Candy play off each other in that movie is just amazing. All the antics they get in are hilarious. I was laughing through that entire movie, and I grew obsessed with certain scenes, like when he wants the car. Sometimes you just relate to a scene in a movie, like when he's angry about not getting his car. That's me, when I'm not getting something that I want. It's just that relatable meme that happens in a movie that you see, and just I don't know, different parts of that movie are so hilarious. I could I can't even begin to count all of the hilarious moments in that. It's just amazing. Um, the next on my list would have to be best drama. This isn't to say that this isn't a great genre. It is a great genre. I haven't particularly delved into it a lot. Whenever I see different drama films that are suggested for me, I don't always put them first when it comes to do I want to watch that, because it's very slow paced. You have to have a lot of patience for it. It's just more emotionally investing, and this might sound weird to say, but when you have to emotionally invest in a movie, it's hard to really bring yourself to watch it, because you really have to put a lot into it when it comes to like getting to know these characters and becoming so attached to them. It's just you're getting taken for an emotional roller coaster. But I have to say, the best drama, in my opinion, would have to be Good Will Hunting, because it is so enjoyable, and the story is so touching with this guy Will and everything he goes through with his attachment disorder, and he tries to get help from this guy played by Robbie Williams, who is amazing, and just the whole story of him needing this job and getting it. The whole story is amazing. Great screenplay by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Ben Affleck is also great in the movie, and young Matt Damon is also great, and it's amazing. I think it's Robin Williams at his best, and he very much deserved that Academy Award, and like really deserved it. Like I don't think there's not many people who would deserve it more than that performance in that movie. It was so amazing. Like rest in peace to him. Like damn, like it's too bad he's gone because like that was honestly his best movie in my opinion that he was in, and just how he talks to Will through all this, and the ending the ending is amazing too, and I could quote that movie a lot. Like how do you like them apples, and it's just great. Number seven. Um, I don't know. This can be considered a lot of things. It can be considered a comedy. It can be considered a science fiction film. It can be considered an action film. But I went with Back to the Future for best science fiction film because this film is just very moving when it comes to the story that it tells, science fiction wise, and how they time travel and the ride that you get taken for. Like when I first watched it, I was blown away by like what happened when Doc dies at the beginning, and then Marty basically goes back in time to help with everything, and it was crazy. Like when I first saw it, and then like you watch it again, and you're just amazed by like how amazing it still is, and it has a lot of replay value. I feel like, and just the whole setting of Marty meeting his dad, and it was just amazing. And the triumphant like punch from George McFly, like everything about it is great. And Biff is a great villain. It's just an amazing movie. Like I don't know what else to say about it. It's an amazing movie. Like I could watch that over and over again. That's probably one of the few movies on this list that could watch it over and over again. Not that a movie like Good Will Hunting is a bad movie, but like sometimes certain movies that you really fall in love with are just those that you could watch over and over again. And Back to the Future is one of those. The whole trilogy I could watch over and over again, but especially the first one, so great, like so amazing, like everything about it, the soundtrack, Huey Lewis in the News, like oh my god, I could go on and on about Back to the Future. The next one would have to be best horror movie. Um, I was debating on this. It was a hard choice because I really love horror movies. I love a lot of different types of horror movies. I love the really gory ones, the really intense ones, the ones with jump scares, the slasher ones. There's a lot of horror is probably the genre that I've watched the most, but I wouldn't call it my favorite genre. I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched it the most. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I've definitely seen a good share of horror in my time as a film fan. Um, for my favorite horror movie, believe it or not, I would have to go with Evil Dead 2. Now, I'm saying this because Evil Dead 1 is a great film, but it's more basic in like its horror structure. I mean, obviously it makes sense because first of all, it was made in 1979. It's an older horror film, and it was the first of its series, so it had the more basic structure to it, with these people coming to the cabin. They get picked off one by one until it's just Ash to try to fight off these demons. But the second one picks up right where the first one left off, when it's just Ash, and it's just Ash versus them, like all of the demons that are trying to get him in the cabin, and he has to fight them, and he has like all these crazy illusions, and spoiler alert, he has to cut off his hand. Like it's just amazing, like everything that happens in that, and, like it's just so it's really gory for one thing, a lot of gore in that, which makes it great, and it is actually scary. Like I don't know, I think the first one might have more scare value to it, honestly, but as a horror movie, the second one I enjoyed more. But that's just me. The whole trilogy is great. Evil Dead 1 is great. Evil Dead 2 is great, and Army of Darkness is also great. But Evil Dead 2 is the best one in the series, in my opinion. Um, I'd say uh, for the next film on the list, let's go with hmm best classic movie. Now this one is interesting because I haven't really delved into a lot of classic films. Like I need to watch more like Alfred Hitchcock movies. Like Psycho is a great film that I almost thought about putting on here, and I've seen a good share of other ones like Carnival of Souls, Nosferatu, The Cabin of Dr. Caligari, which I do have to talk about because that is also great. Um, and just others, Blood Tide. There's different ones that I've seen. The Picks, Black Sunday. What's that other one with Barbara Steele? I forget. Barbara Steele is one of the greatest old actresses there is. Black Sunday is amazing, but for this one, sorry to rant. I just love old like horror films. For this one, I'd have to say The Incredible Shrinking Man. Now this one is definitely way more like science fiction. So it could go with like Back to the Future as far as being like science fiction. It's very science fiction because it literally just deals with this guy who develops this sort of I don't even know disease I guess, which causes him to slowly shrink. And at first he's kind of just like a big dude, like a regular sized dude, and throughout the movie he slowly progresses to being like 3 feet tall, and he like talks to like people that are as short as him, and then like after that he progresses to like being as small as a cat, and then he progresses to being smaller than a cat and getting chased by a cat, and then he progresses to being smaller than a spider, like and then he's just like eventually he just gets so small that he can't even like I don't know exist like that's not to like spoil the movie, but like um well he gets really small. We'll just say that. But it's really enjoyable. It's just everything about it is so intense and amusing as to like what goes on with him, and like he narrates the story throughout, and like this is how I had to survive. I had to survive the elements. The elements are very harsh on me, and just like he gets stuck in this basement like when he's really small, and he has to like be face off against this spider. It's just crazy. It's an amazing movie for its time. I will say that. 1957 it came out in, and let me tell you, it is amazing. Amazing movie. Amazing movie. All right. Well, continuing on. Number 5, best surreal movie, Lost Highway. Um, I don't really know what else to say about this movie. It's just it takes you for a real ride that's like no other as far as like what you think you're seeing compared to like what you realize at the end of the movie. Like there's one ending at the end where you're like that was what was happening, and you're just like blown away. The characters in it, the mystery man, just everything that goes on in that is amazing, and I have a lot of respect for David Lynch. He is one of the best directors ever, I will say. Inland Empire, also a great movie, but Lost Highway I'd have to say that's his best. It's just so good. I don't really understand it fully, but a lot of David Lynch's films you don't understand fully, but that's okay. Um, anyways, number 4, best superhero movie. Now, I think I want to say best comic book hero movie because Deadpool is not considered a superhero movie. I know he says in the movie that this is not a superhero movie, but like as far as like people from comic books go, I would have to say Deadpool is my favorite movie in that regard. When you compare it to like the Avengers or Ant-Man or the Justice League or Batman, anything like that, Deadpool beats all of those with its spectacular comedy and just amazing antics as to how he breaks the fourth wall, and just the whole plot of that is amazing. Love the villain, love the story of him getting his powers. It's just amazing. I saw Deadpool 2 just last night actually, and I wasn't quite as blown away by it, but it was an amazing movie as well. But I still like Deadpool 1 better because I think the comedy was better executed in the first one, just my personal opinion. And the second one was more just like pop culture references as to how it like tried to be funny. I wasn't quite as like blown away by that. It was funny, like I will give it that, but it wasn't as funny. I know comedy isn't everything in a Marvel movie, but it sure as hell helps, and all the action that goes with it in both of them is amazing with his swords and whatnot, which I absolutely adore. Um, anyways, um, so next we're gonna look at the best action movie. Okay, action movie. Oh man, I've had a long history with action movies. They are so great. I will say, action is a genre of movies that I have been obsessed with since I was a kid, and it's always been one of my favorites. Um, I don't know, just especially with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know. I'm biased. I have an obsession with movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger's in. True Lies, Commando, Total Recall, Terminator, Predator, The Running Man. Even that's not terrible. I can think of more probably if you gave me time, but those are just a few of his great movies that he's in. Running Man wasn't that great, but it was alright. Anyways, for action movies, they're just. I really love an action movie that keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole entire movie, and for this, I had to go with The Terminator because it's a movie that really can do that. It, the entire movie is perfectly executed throughout, and the way it's shot and directed by James Cameron is just very well executed throughout. Like all the little touches that, I mean, I watched it for like the fourth time today, or at least it's at least been like three times that I've watched it now, probably four or five. And it's just amazing. Like you see all the little nuances that he focused on, like when it came to like making the movie, and just like the whole movie is just a spectacular masterpiece with how it's made, with the villain and escaping him and beating him in the end, and just everything that goes on in that is amazing. There's not a single second of that movie that isn't disappointing. That is disappointing. Everything about it is amazing to me. I know it's just an action movie, like it's not anything that special to other people, but to me it's a spectacle to that should be really recognized for how great it is. But that's just my opinion. All right. Lastly, we've got my favorite genre of movie, thriller. This is my favorite genre of movie. And I'll say this, a movie that can really keep you on the edge of your seat and really just keep you in suspense the whole time, and like with constant like wonder as to what's going to happen, and constant fear and constant like what's going on, like it, like if a movie can succeed in making you want to watch it constantly and injects that suspense into you, then it has succeeded in being like the best film ever to me. Like, and here's why. The films that did that for me are two films that I'm going to list because it's really hard not to leave out one of these, so I'm going to include both. The first one is The Thing, made by John Carpenter, because The Thing is an amazing film with great special effects, with all the monsters and stuff, but everything about it from start to end is just so intense. With Kurt Russell's R.J. McCready, great actor, and the black guy is also great. Keith, I think his name is Keith. His name is Keith, I know that. But John Carpenter directed that movie spectacularly, and from the start of the movie with the dog, like being the one who's infected, till like finding out everyone else is infected to hostilely trying to figure out who's infected, who's not. Like that wonder of who's infected, who isn't, is like one of the best things ever that I've ever seen. Just like you don't know what to expect. Like anyone could be it. Anyone could have this thing, and then when they find out it's one person, they turn into this like crazy exploding alien. Like and it's just insane, so great. Like and then the ending of that movie is one of the best that I've ever seen. Honestly, when like they both just sit by the fire and they're like, well, I guess we'll just wait. Like that's just so great. I can watch that on YouTube over and over again. So amazing. And then, okay, lastly, I gotta talk about The Fly because I would consider The Fly to be a thriller movie, kind of. I guess you could say it's also a romance, but I would say it's a thriller. You could also say it was a science fiction movie, but I mean, I just gotta give it an honorable mention either way. I don't know. I would call it a thriller. That's just me. Just because it's so intense with this guy transforming and his character development. Jeff Goldblum was in this movie so well, like with the special effects he had on him, done in him, and he does so well in this movie with how he transforms, how he changes over time. To he basically bridges to like insanity, up until the very last moment when he literally turns into a fly, and it was just such an amazing movie. Like with the special effects are amazing, and I don't even know what to say. Like the story between Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum's character, like their romance story, was so moving, and then like how it ends, like you realize like what they've all gone through together throughout this movie, and you're just like, oh man, this is so emotional. Like god damn it. It's just so great, and you just end the movie like, wow, that was amazing. Like, yeah, very suspenseful, I will say. With, um, basically at the end, his character basically tries to kill her, essentially. Um, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Those are 10 different movies from my favorite genres. Um, I don't give any specific order as to like whether I like this movie better than this one. These are just what my favorite genres are. The movies within them, like I'm not saying that the thing is my favorite movie ever. I'll never be able to definitively say what my favorite movie is ever because it's such a subjective talk of what's your favorite movie. Like you can't just say like yeah my favorite movie is this. Like I don't know. So like I like to say I wanted to make this video because you can think about like well what are 10 of your favorite movies from each of these genres. So like as to like kind of split it up more. But like as far as the order of that went, those are my 10 favorite genres. So like thriller is my favorite genre, but I don't know. It's hard to really say what your actual favorite films are in order. Like you don't just do that easily. Like there's like I don't know. Uh, that would require like some really hard thinking to figure it out. But needless to say, nonetheless, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And if you have, please leave a like rating, and I'll see you guys in the next one.